put kids' lives in danger to protect what exactly? We don't know. Any kid in those schools could tell you that men and women are not the same. Just like they could tell you this cat lady isn't a cat.
I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat.
Lindsey Graham, the cat lady herself and host of the Patriot Barbie podcast, joins me now. So Lindsey, what was actually happening at this school district that made you have to dress up as a cat to prove your point?
Well, first of all, Jesse, I'd like you to not misspecies me. I'd like to be addressed as a cat for the entirety of this video, of course.
Of course.
I
apologize.
This was in my... Thank you. Just inclusivity is all I ask, you know. This was a local school in my neighborhood where there was a member of the school board whose name is Paul Bixler. He is a man. He's very clearly a man. And the only thing he does to identify as a female is put lipstick on. He grew his hair out a little bit, and he wears his deceased wife's clothing to school, to sporting events, to fundraisers, to school events in front of the children. And believe it or not, he actually demands on being identified one of two ways, either Paul, which is a man's name, of course, or Miss Bixler. So it's very clear that he has a gender identity crisis. And not only does he appear in front of the children and insist that the children, you know, define him as a woman, but he sits on the board and he's making decisions for these children. And the point that I was trying to make as a cat was that, I mean, obviously, you can't just identify as whatever you want. And you can't demand that other people identify you as whatever you want. But someone with this kind of mental illness can enjoy that mental illness all they want in the comfort of their own home. But when you put them in charge of children, we're talking about a new type of indoctrination. And that's what's really terrifying, is seeing these people in charge of our kids' education.
Yeah, if he has to grieve over his dead wife, he can grieve privately, but...
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome all. And what's on tap for today? Well, as you saw, it's the cat woman or the cat lady. And everybody is asking, who is this person? Well, we know it's Lindsey Graham. And then the question is, could that be our intrepid rhino senator from South Carolina? Intrepid Senator Rhino by day, cat woman, cat lady, protector of children at night? Those are some of the questions, folks, that we're going to answer in this video. But anyways, if this is the first time that you're here, we certainly appreciate you tuning in. You're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show, and I happen to be your guest host for today. My name is Dr. Shaikh. And folks, this is just one of those stories that is just, it's nice to see out there, because there is a parent that is taking charge and is basically saying, I've had enough with wokeism on the school board, and this has got to be addressed. Now, I know it was just tongue-in-cheek before, but what I like to do is, you already saw that clip there. There's an actual clip. It's kind of grainy, but I think the audio is really spot on, and it is a speech of the Catwoman of Lindsey Graham. All right? So if you really want to have that question answered, will the real Lindsey Graham please stand up? Well, you're going to have that question answered in the next few minutes by listening to the speech by the Catwoman in Phoenix, Arizona, in front of the school board. So stay tuned, folks, till the end of this video. Same cat channel, same cat station.
Hello, my name is Lindsey Graham, and I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Why? Because you are not stupid, and these children are not stupid. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat. You may also think correctly that if I truly believe I'm a cat, I have a mental disorder. If I suffer from a mental disorder, and if I am unable to discern reality, am I safe to be around children? Would you put me in charge of making critical decisions about the safety and well-being of children and about the direction of their education when I cannot even discern truth from fiction? Confession. I'm not actually a cat, guys, just because I say I am. You've not agreed to or committed to addressing me as a cat simply because I demand it. No tail.
And I just wanted to say here that that is so true. The questions that she asked the board folks were spot on. These are the same kind of questions that you could ask of anybody who is, dressing in a particular way, is trying to basically maintain an illusion of some kind, a delusion of some kind. And she is very systematically, categorically asking the board questions. And then she comes back and says, of course I'm not a cat. Everybody knows I'm not a cat. You know I'm not a cat. The kids know I'm not a cat. And I can't force you to tell me, I can't force you to tell to me that I'm a cat, the same as you can't force the children to say to me that I'm a cat. And that's what's going on. So let's continue on with this.
Tail, whiskers, or outfit makes me a cat. Just like no lipstick, high heels, or long hair makes him a man, a woman.
Now, remember what the story background was, is that this Mr. Bixler, all right, we have sympathy, obviously, and empathy for him because of his wife passing away. But what he's doing is that not only is he wearing women's clothes and high heels and putting lipstick on, but the clothes that he's putting on are his wife's clothes. I mean, she's already passed away. And that's kind of, I don't think that's usual, folks. That's kind of unusual, right? And then he's coming to school and he's demanding that he either be addressed as Ms. Bixler or by his regular name. And that's what she's trying to get across, that we are trying to, and this isn't happening like at the high school level, folks, 17, 18, year-old kids. This is happening in elementary school is what's going on.
It is just as biologically impossible for me to become a cat as it is for a man to be a woman. And you have one job as members of this school board, and it's defined as this. School board members are responsible for broad, forward-thinking, minute analysis and decisive action in all areas that affect students and staff in their schools. I ask you, do you believe that the actions of a grown man playing dress up as a woman affects the students and staff positively or negatively?
That is a great question to ask right there. That is check and mate, folks. Checkmate.
A public school is not the place for social experiments in altered realities or gender ideologies. It is not the place to celebrate a grown...
Unfortunately, that's exactly what the left is doing. They're using our school systems as petri dishes to indoctrinate our children's young, impressionable minds. She's hit it right on the nose, folks. And we all know this. We have to speak up. We've got to speak out. I applaud Catwoman Lindsey Graham. And I know we were playing tongue-in-cheek, but just so everybody realizes, okay, that's not really our intrepid rhino senator from North Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. That is Lindsey Graham, Catwoman, concerned parent in Phoenix, Arizona.
Man with a mental illness, dressing as a woman and teaching kids lies. Children come to school to learn facts and truths about reality, including unchanging biological truths about science and nature, not to learn that they can change biological realities and become anything they want in the name of diversity. What you're actually doing is worse than just lying to our kids. You're forcing them to be participants in your lie, in your charade. You're forcing them to deny what they see with their eyes, and you're forcing them to speak lies. I ask you again, am I a cat? And if you say no, then the mindset must be aligned with your discernment across the board. By allowing a falsity to be displayed and paraded around the school, you teach children that truth is not existent, facts are not real, and biology is a lie. You fail at your job, your only job, by confusing children and teaching them untruths and to coddle a grown man playing dress up as a woman. If you were to address me as a cat right now,
It's as ridiculous as when you say Miss Bixler and a grown man's voice comes thundering over the.
Thank you.
So what did you think of our intrepid cat lady, folks? Our cat woman out in Phoenix, Arizona, defender of children, defender of children's rights. I mean, she was absolutely great, wasn't she? I mean, that was an absolute bravo performance with the costume, basically just throwing the wokeness right back at these leftists on the school board. And that's exactly what we need to do. Parents need to utilize, this was a very creative way, a very peaceful way, this was just the way that should have been done. Take the argument and literally put it right in front of them to let them know that, look, what are you guys doing? That there is an illusion here. There is a delusion here. And with the wokeness, there's a collusion that's going on. And it needs to stop. And as a parent, I will not allow myself or my children to participate in this illusion, in this delusion that is being brought forth. And just to reiterate one last time, folks, as we talked about here, the gentleman's name, his name is Paul Bixler, and as I said, he is clearly a man. They say that the only thing that he's done is to identify as a female is he puts on some lipstick, he grew his hair out, but he wears his deceased wife's clothing to school, to sporting events, to school events, to fundraisers. And that we say is that this person is in charge of putting in policies that are going to affect our children at the earliest ages of their development. We're talking kindergarten, elementary school. And of course, this person has a gender identity crisis. Of course, he has, some type of a psychological challenge, that we could say basically that's going on. But he insists that the children, everybody else, define him as a woman. But he sits on the board and he's making decisions for these kids. Anyways, folks, we're just so proud of this woman, Lindsey Graham, out there in Phoenix, Arizona, for doing what she's doing, and as so many other patriot moms and dads, have done. I don't think a day goes by or a week goes by without us hearing about some mom, some dad, some grandmother, some grandfather, an uncle, an aunt, a student himself, boy or girl, man or woman, standing up in front of a board, a school board, for their 2 or 3 minutes and basically just outlining the facts and saying, this wokeness has got to stop. We are not going to believe in the illusion and the collusion and the delusion which is occurring in our schools when you're making us believe things that are not there in front of our eyes. Anyways, folks, we certainly appreciate the time you took to watch the video. If you haven't already done so, well, we'd love to have you subscribe. Hit that notification bell for more content that we put out. Like and share this in the comments below. Let us know what you think of Lindsey Graham. And I'll leave you with my final thought, folks, and that's the fall. Oh, you know what? You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh show here. I've been your guest host. My name is Dr. Shaikh, and I'll leave you with my final thoughts. You know what that is. When you're right, you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.